Hello, everybody, and welcome to Hanmi's Storytime Theater. Or, if you prefer... Here, give me a second.
Hello, animate objects I hope to boink one day.
It's me, your favorite creepy and weirdly desperately thirsty geriatric narcissist. Let me pour myself a dash of green tea.
Oh, look at me. I'm so obsessed with my little Willy. Hump, hump. Oh, sadness. I just can't quite grasp the concept of enthusiastic consent. Whatever will abate my sadness? I know. A medley.
How can you just leave me standing, alone in a world so cold? Maybe I've issues with my mother. Maybe I'm just like my father, too old.
In touch with the ground, I'm on the hunt, I always drool. I smell like a sound, I'm lost in a crowd, and I'm thirsty like a fool. For 40 days and for 40 nights, a hit on guys. But who can stand when I want a man? It's myself I stand. Gonna dance on the floor in the round. Mama always told me, be careful what you do. Don't go around being some old fart. And Mama always told me, be careful what you shove in places you should not, because you're old and got.
I just express myself, baby. Put your love to the test. You know you got to
make him express how he feels. Then you know his love is real.
You started without me, and your impression is terrible.
Terribly accurate, you mean?
Oh, look at me, I'm so Raven.
Just try and keep up, old man.
You need more horns in your music, kids today.
Synthwave, Grandpa. It's retro enough even you should recognize it.
Come on now, hon, all your fans, they all want your dirt. Oh, so come on now, hon.
Sweet dreams and backstories. Who am I to disagree? I've traveled the world and the 7 seas. Everybody looking for something. Well, my mother was raised in the ghetto of New Albion and swore she would get rich by any means. She dropped out of school and started dealing. Word is, her best friend stole some of her stash once for a party, and my mother had to either shoot her or lose face. So she shot her best friend with tears streaming down her face. It earned her respect, and she climbed to the ladder of the street drug trade. She was sleeping on and off with my dad, a hustler, always coming up with impossible schemes, and eventually got pregnant. Hey little sister, what's the big plan? Hey little sister, who's your Superman? Hey little sister, who is the one you want? Hey little sister, shotgun. Well, it's a nice day to start again. Come on, it's a nice day for a white wedding. As a young girl, I used to help my mom weigh and bag narcotics. By that time, both my parents were using themselves, and the house was a chaotic and sometimes dangerous place to be. But my dad never stopped trying to dream up the big score that would bring them their windfall they needed to leave the game. So one night they stole a truly epic score. Oh Lord. But it turned out to be the mob whose cash they stole. Oh Lord, oh Lord. But when the mob, they look for you, there is nowhere to go, it's true. All my folks, all they could do was hide for months. We never left, it's true. And finally one day My mother walked outside, went out for tampons and smokes and delight, but sadly she got made, shot upon the street, but I will always love her. My dad took the bag of money, ran, and no one ever saw him again. Is he dead or still alive?
Do you? I can give hugs.
If you really wanna know what I think of my dad, well, I'm thinking he's a dream on a mean machine who was hell when he's mad. He was a devil in skin, tarred leather. He always was wild as the wind. And one fine night, he ran out of sight. He's a cool rider, a cool rider. He was cool enough to burn me through and through.
I'll be here for you tonight, if you need me, if you ever, and if you only hold me tight, we'll be holding on forever, and we'll only be making it right, 'cause we'll never be wrong. Together we can make it to the end of the line. Your love is like a shadow on me all the time. I don't know what to do, I'm always in the dark. We're living in a powder keg and giving off sparks. I really need you tonight. Forever's gonna start tonight. Forever's gonna start tonight.
Once upon a time I was falling in love. Now I'm only falling apart. Nothing I can do, a total eclipse of the heart.
Once upon a time there was light in my life. Now there's only love in the dark. Nothing I can say, a total eclipse of the heart. Turn around, bright eyes. Turn around, bright eyes. Turn around.
Okay, everyone. So that was the medley part. Now for the story part. It's been a while since we've caught up with our good friends in Lost Hollow, so settle back, and I'll catch you up on the latest happenings. Lost Hollow has stagnated. It's not growing, and the radio show isn't picking up new listeners. It just plays to a small, dedicated cult following. This is not enough for the town to grow, and once these few listeners drift away, the town will fade and die. Mary tries to come up with a plan. She calls for a town meeting. The town discusses the dilemma and decides they need to send someone out to the real world to do some reconnaissance. Mary is not allowed out, and Henry has less than no desire to go. Sonia Suarez offers to go. She has become sufficiently real and has experience with alternate realities, so she packs up a backpack and heads over to the carnival, where the doorway to the outer world is. Dr. Jesper Furby has created gold coins to use as currency, and he theorizes it should retain value in the outer world. He makes her a pouch full and a map to navigate the walkway between worlds. Sonia sets off. Sonia has never been to the outer world of New Albion, and is both excited and intimidated. She wanders about, looking at this and that, but soon realizes she knows so little about how this world works, she decides she needs to collect information the best way she knows how, by going to a saloon. She tries to pay with the gold coins she has, which are actually worth an enormous amount, but the bartender doesn't know this and will only accept proper currency. Sonia becomes frustrated and upset, but a patron at the bar drinking alone offers to pay for her drink. Sonia accepts, and they set to talking. The patron is a trans male named Oliver who has sat down to drink away his troubles. He's just quit his job at a video game company after months of endless crunching under terrible working conditions. He has no other prospects and is upset and disillusioned with the industry. He listens incredulously to Sonya's story, and while he has no idea whether to believe it or consider Sonya a complete nut, he tells her that radio is the most outdated and ridiculous way to grow popular awareness of her town, and who on earth thought up such a thing? If she wants to grow fast, she should make a video game centered around Lost Hollow. Sonya becomes very excited and asks Oliver if he could help her. Oliver is still not sure if Sonya is a nut, so he is hesitant, but agrees to come back with her to see the town. Long story short, once he travels into the collective unconscious and visits Lost Hollow, he clearly believes her and agrees to head up the creation of the video game. The gold pieces Lost Hollow uses as currency are insanely valuable in the outer world and will easily fund the project. Oliver sets about creating a company and designing an open-world RPG based around Lost Hollow and its denizens. This is when the trouble occurs. Before the game is finished, they begin marketing it. This builds awareness of the town in the public eye. But something odd then happens. Another town forms close to Lost Hollow, based off an incredibly popular video game, Nazi Death War. In New Albion, Nazis are a fictitious type of bad guy like zombies. The game is a first-person shooter that takes place in a war-torn city and surrounding countryside, with a highly popular online multiplayer option. This bleeds over into Lost Hollow, and the town soon finds itself overrun with homicidal soldiers shooting at everything around them while screaming noob, cursing, and shouting every racist and homophobic epithet in existence. Sheriff Henry goes over to try to talk sense into them. They scream at him and make him very angry and frustrated. When angry and frustrated, he cannot achieve the necessary physical effect needed to turn into Hurl. Henry angrily goes back to Lost Hollow and asks Dawson Calico if he could please take off his clothes in front of Henry. Dawson does, and Henry turns into Hurl, goes back to Nazi Town, and trashes the place, and all the homicidal players screaming noob. It's a massacre. The problem is the idea that during your multiplayer battle, a giant, naked beast of a man may randomly burst in and go on a rampage absolutely delights people, and Nazi Death War becomes even more popular. Mary and Chanel, a half-wraith girl, hold a town meeting where suggestions are thrown out and debated. In the end, a decision is made, and early the next morning, Mary and Chanel fill some packs and set out into the great desert. The walk is long and brutal. Chanel is a huge help because as a half-wraith, she consumes much less normal food and can feed off of dead carcasses, which they find during their trek. Mary has a much harder time and eventually goes through all the food and water in the packs as the days pass. Chanel had begged Mary to stay, but Mary told her she could never send someone else on a terrible journey she wouldn't do herself. Mary is parched and broken, practically being dragged by Chanel when they finally reach the place on the northern front of the desert Mary had remembered being there before, when as an AI they had tried and failed to map this region of the collective unconscious. It is a place called Num Num Kitty Land, where the Num Num Kitties live. Mary talks to the Num Num Kitties and they strike a deal. She then performs a ritual involving scotch, a red clown nose, and goth glitter, which sends a rainbow flare far into the sky, falling well out of sight. It is a signal to summon the carnival. Raven appears and agrees to bring the carnival, attach Num Num Kittyland to it like a trailer, and drag it across the desert back to Lost Hollow. This is how the Num Num Kitties invade Nazi Death War. While Hurl was viciously fun, the rainbow-farting Num Num Kitties are absolutely horrific to many of the younger, testosterone-fueled fans. While there is a small constituent that absolutely loves their invasive presence, the reaction is catastrophic for the poor game and their company. Outside, in the real world, a team of tired, beleaguered programmers frantically search the code and firewalls to see how the kitties are possibly interfering with the game, but they can find nothing. Within days, the game is shut down, and the company goes on to report record losses. Oliver, meanwhile, is creating a masterpiece of a game. He is unfettered by budgetary restrictions, and Sonia cares nothing for making a profit, so money is spent without thought or care. Oliver will go on to become a legend in the gaming industry, not only for his incredible game design, but for his unwavering insistence on ethical working conditions and contracts for his programmers. Lost Hollow, as a result, has an enormous growth spurt, and the Lost Hollow Weird West gaming line is one of the most top-rated of all time. And now, it's time for viewer mail. Today, we have a question from Caitlin, the costume designer. Caitlin asks, Dear Han Mi, have any other posthumans dropped by the carnival? If so, who? It seems to be a hot spot for people of the transcendent kind. Well, Caitlin, no one has dropped by yet, although that's about to change because we've been, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to talk about this, but let's just say, if all goes well, there should be a bit of a reunion happening here. It's been tough tracking them down, but we think we found... Raven and I are leaving after the show. Raven's going to meet and I have someone I'm supposed to find. I really should have left already, but since he's a near indestructible postie, after all, what could happen to him, I figure I can wait until this show is over. Lloyd is hard at work trying to come up with a plan to, well, do the impossible, which you have to admit is something he's quite good at. Anyway, Caitlin continues. Backup question. Dear Han Mi, if you could travel to a narrative with anyone in the metaverse, who would you go with and where to? From Caitlin, the costume designer. One day, when the current plan is over and I've built my ashram, I would like to go away with Henry, maybe take a quick peek and see how Jane is getting on, then, I don't know, a little pirate adventure that leads to the discovery of a lost underwater civilization might be nice. Pirates of Atlantis or something like that. Just me and Henry, and maybe we could make a few friends along the way. Okay, well, that's our show for today, and here to sing you all off a duet with me and Floozy.
Hey, Johan, how you doing?
Great. So, what did you want to sing today?
Well, I was trying to think what all them folks out there need, and I figure one thing I'm sure everyone could use is a great big hug. So this is my hug from me to all of yous. Happiness is finding a pencil, pizza with sausage, telling the time. Happiness is learning to whistle, tying your shoe for the very first time. Happiness is playing the drum in your own school band. And happiness is walking hand in hand. Happiness is 2 kinds of ice cream, knowing a secret, climbing a tree. Happiness is 5 different crayons, catching a firefly, setting him free. Happiness is being alone every now and then. And happiness is coming home again. Happiness is morning and evening, daytime and nighttime too. For happiness is anyone and anything at all that's loved by you.
Happiness is having a sister, sharing a sandwich, getting along. Happiness is singing together when day is through, and happiness is those who sing with you.
Happiness is morning and evening, daytime and nighttime too.